you know, this is Iram Saeed, your host of the Global Telesummit from Heartache to Joy. I've been doing these calls, Straight Talk with Iram. This is the second in the series, although we're going to include a couple of more that I did earlier. These are basically just to serve you during these times, because I noticed a lot of people are very, very afraid and unsure. So I wanted to bring some calls to you guys with people that I really respect and admire. So yes, Lishan said a lot of anxiety. Yes, a lot of people have a lot of anxiety. As you guys know, my own daughter just was tested positive for corona. She just went through it. Actually, her quarantine ended 5-6 days ago. She's now fully recovered. So I can understand, I can relate. Luckily, her symptoms, it was a very mild case, but this has become a pandemic of fear more than anything else. Everybody is really, really afraid. And it seems to be, this irresistible urge right now to incessantly share news of doom and disaster. And oh my God, look at this, what's happening. I see so much more being shared about death and very terrible disease, very serious symptoms, and very little being shared of people that actually have recovered and are doing well in their businesses also. There are a lot of people that are actually thriving. I know many that are doing really well in their businesses. We are actually at FHTJ, we're doing well too. So people just aren't sharing those kinds of news. I know that there was a huge surge in the job market in the US. There were a lot more millions of new jobs created. Nobody talked about that either. So people just want to talk about bad news. So I'm going to keep this in front of me in case somebody messages, but I want to welcome all of you. So Dr. Shagufta has been a mentor and someone that I really, really look up to for many years. I met her over a decade ago for the first time through my cousin, who has been a student of hers. She has been a patient of hers and really, really looks up to her for many years. And then, of course, I moved back to the US. And then every time I tried to visit with Dr. Shagufta and follow the lifestyle that she teaches, I'm kind of still learning. But I love not only what she teaches holistically for health, but also the wisdom that she has spiritually, which is why I'm super excited about this call. And we're going to share a lot of insights about, first of all, how people with this disease, with COVID-19, can be helped holistically, and what are some of the success stories that she can share of her own patients. We're going to talk about how some very healthy people are being taken away by the disease, where we hear stories of other people that recover with mild or no symptoms. So what's going on with that? What is the role of spirituality, trust, faith? What is the role of that in healing? What are the negative effects of fear on the physiology, and how can we turn it into a positive way? And then why, this is very exciting for me because I love this one, why Dr. Shagufta believes we are fortunate to be going through a global crisis or challenge together as humanity. And what should we focus on in our actions and our thoughts to really shift into bliss? Because if this pandemic could be a doorway to bliss, how can we all do that? So before we begin, I am going to read you a brief bio of Dr. Shagufta, and then we will hear from her directly. Dr. Shagufta Feroz has been serving since 1988 at her private medical practice. From a very early age, she was passionate towards healing with nature rather than drugs. Pursuing her passion, she specialized in family medicine, holistic nutrition, integrative medicine, and lifestyle medicine. She has been serving as the founder of the Synchronized Lifestyle Modification Program, also known as SLP, from the past 16 years. Based on her independent research, she has authored a book on preventing, halting, and reversing disease through lifestyle modification, titled as Living as Nature Intended. Now, that book I do have, and I have read it, I'm proud to say. After running a drug-dependent clinical practice for 15 years, She identified the healthy lifestyle and its role in prevention, treatment, and reversal of disease formation process. The awareness forced her to gradually switch from drug dependent practice to a drug less integrative family medicine practice. She's also a regular speaker at various health forums, doctor forums, government training institutes, and armed forces training institutes. She has participated in about 100 live TV health shows, and her website, piccHLS.com, is always a generous source for knowledge of public. Welcome to the show, Shagufta. It's wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam.
So I want to begin. I want to jump right in. What prompted you? I know that it was, kind of, we briefly touched on it in your bio that you wanted to go drug less, but what prompted you to leave a successful medical practice and go into a holistic one?
Okay, let me start from my teenage age when a girl is in a very dreamy state. My teenage was full of happiness, laughter, adventures, and I was looking for subjects which my age fellows were not looking for. I always wanted to read books on natural therapies. I was doing sun gazing at age 13, 14. I was doing candle gazing. I was practicing hydrotherapy. So I don't know why. And I think that something was imprinted in me. I feel something was there which was controlling me, because none of the members of my family, they were interested in this sort of material. And even my parents were not aware what I was reading. So with this state of mind, when I landed in the medical school, I was a bit disappointed, because I was looking for something probably healing, but I don't have that term in my mind at that young age. But when I landed in a medical school, I was disappointed doing dissections on dead bodies and a typical, very robotic way of learning. And when I was in the medical college, my grades started going down. Before that, I was a topper in my school. So after I was in the final year of my medical school, I decided that I am not going to work in a hospital system. That was the only idea which I got at that time, because I was confused, but I didn't have an idea what I wanted to do. Because in my era, we thought that doctors are the ultimate experts and they are the ones who have got the knowledge to heal or treat others. Mm-hmm. So, but in my final year, I thought, no, it is not the science which I was looking for. Finally, I completed my internship and I started doing a general practice, family medicine practice. After 15 years of my family medicine practice, I was at my peak of clinic. I was at the peak of my practice. I suddenly stopped my practice because something here in my heart was not happy what I was doing. And then I decided, okay, I am not going to practice because this is not giving me satisfaction. When my chronic patients of asthma, patients of diabetes, patients of arthritis, when they used to come to me and they ask me, doctor, when we are going to completely recover, I could not look into their eyes because I felt so embarrassed that I know that I myself is actually helping them getting closer to death by giving them medications with a lot of side effects. Yes. So when I stopped my practice, in the meanwhile, I somehow by chance doing random Google searching, I found this holistic nutrition PhD. This was in Clayton College, Alabama. So I opted for that. And I have done my first PhD in holistic nutrition. And that was an eye opener for me. And there I realized that, oh, what I was looking in my teenage, finally I have found that science, which has opened a huge, a new world for me. And that was holistic. And then later on I wanted to see what is healing and where is this healing. Then I have done my second PhD, which was in integrative medicine. And people, my fellow friends or my colleagues, they used to make fun of me. They thought that she has nothing to do. That is why she is
Hmm.
doing PhDs, and because I was not into a government system where I need specializations to upgrade my status. I was into a private practice, and I was not supposed to do all this, but I was doing all this uh, just to learn more about the human body healing, and the reserves which we carry in our system. So this is what I would like to define in terms of my holistic journey.
That's wonderful. That is a great story. Thank you for sharing. And I think it was about 10 over 10 years ago that I started to really shift away from allopathic medicine. And I can tell you, even though United States has a lot of holistic practitioners, and some states have integrated medicine, but it's not in Texas. It was not easy for me to find a doctor that would do both. And then there's a whole other story of insurance not covering those practices, and then you have to pay out of pocket, so it's actually very expensive to go
Right.
natural. and and that's a whole different story, what's going on behind that. We won't get into that. But from what I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, from what I understand, that you really bring the body into a state of kind of homeostasis through food and nutrition, through changing the diet, right? Mostly.
Yeah, exactly. Because I work on a holistic being. I don't work on the disease. Actually, I work on the patient with the disease. So I
Mm,
always tell the patient that I'm not working on your disease. I'm not bothered about the title of your disease. I'm worried about you. So
yes.
I just work holistically. So my approach is holistic. Let me define a little bit of holistic also.
Yes,
Holistic
please.
is body, mind, and soul. So regarding soul, you'll be surprised to learn this, that in 1993 there were only 3 medical schools in US which were teaching spirituality, and in 2009 there are about 90 medical schools which teach spirituality as a subject. When I
Mm,
have completed my fellowship, last year I have completed my fellowship, and spirituality was a subject taught to us by a MD. So
wow.
when I work on a
Interesting.
patient, I target the root causes. And for
Mm,
me, the root cause is always in their mind or in their immune system. So
mm.
whenever I align their immune system, I try to delete their chronic traumas, they start healing. I just activate the mechanism of auto healing. We, as doctors, we don't know anything about the human body. We know only 1/3 of the human body, which is the physical body.
Yes.
We've never been taught about mind or soul. So, this is the difference, major difference between the conventional medicine and the holistic sciences.
Well, and what I love about you, Shagufta, is that you actually combine of course, your medical background plus the holistic, which is healing through through foods and nutrition, but you also are deeply, deeply spiritual, and you really do bring the soul into this equation, which is what I, of course, just fell in love with you for that, because of that reason. And we'll delve into that a little bit more as the talk goes on. But I know a lot of people listening have serious concerns about COVID-19, and you were talking to me about an amazing story of your patient that you helped with that recently. So talk to us about some of the cases you've dealt with regarding corona, and what kind of disease you have seen. What are some of the elements that can help us?
Okay. So all my patients, I'm at the moment I'm talking about my patients who were already on a lifestyle which was a bit harmonized, and their immunity, they have already worked on their immunity. One of my patients, about 2-3 days before I just saw her online, basically. Actually, she is about 18 weeks pregnant, and that is her very precious pregnancy because she already had 2 miscarriages. She had this COVID-19, And
Mm.
when I saw her, she told me that about 4 members of her family were affected with this coronavirus, and she's the only one who recovered more quickly as compared to them. And she was, mashallah, completely recovered. But I was a bit worried about her, so I asked her to get the scan. Yesterday, she sent me the scan report, and she had perfectly growing fetus, and nothing was. There was, thank God, there was nothing abnormal happened to her fetus. And then
That's
another
wonderful.
patient I can recall that about a week ago, one of our family friends, they were talking about a patient who was heading towards serious state of corona, and probably he has started developing those coagulation or blood clotting, and his tests were showing that he is heading towards coagulation. So I just requested him that please follow these food instructions which I am going to advise you, and inshallah you will be all right. And I'm so glad that after, I think, 5 days or 6 days, his symptoms started reversing and his tests were getting normal. So these are the two recent patients I'm talking about. I think about in last 2 weeks I've handled many corona patients. Most of them have recovered, or few were during the active disease. And
Mm.
if they work on immunity, and if they try to overcome their fear, they always show better results.
Mm.
Those who
So,
are affected,
yeah,
those
go
who
ahead.
are affected badly by their poor mental immunity, I would like to define here a little bit of immunity also. Immunity is not only physical, it is
Mm.
mental immunity also. It is
Mm.
spiritual immunity also. So when the
Yes.
body, mind, and soul are aligned, and you have got a very good belief or faith, you have very strong spiritual immunity. Nothing can
Mhm.
harm you if you are getting spiritual immunity. And then you might be knowing about animal soul, human soul, and great soul. So when you have a spiritual immunity, you get energy from your human soul. And human
Mm.
soul is like it's a bulb of, suppose a bulb of 1000 watts. Human body
Mm.
is a bulb of probably 100 watts, and the great soul is a bulb of, probably we can't even count the watts. It's a limitless,
Very,
or
yes.
yes. So if you are connected to your human soul, you have got excellent spiritual immunity, which supports your mental immunity, and then there is nothing to worry about. And that is why there is a difference between recovery of patients. Sometimes we have seen patients at late age recovering from corona, and we have seen patients at an early age and they couldn't survive because of this COVID-19. So it is all about their immunity. Yeah.
So that was going to be my next question, that we see that sometimes young healthy people are dying very quickly within days, and then some people even in their 90s and with comorbidities make it through. What in your opinion is going on here? I and before you answer, I was going to post this online because I just had an epiphany, and I said this is not even a matter of your physical immunity. It's about what you were saying, the immunity of the heart, like it's the strength of your heart. And then a couple of people said that would be very insensitive of you to post that. So I stopped, because the people have lost loved ones. We do have to be very cautious of making sure that we don't hurt any feelings, but at the same time we have to share information that can help people. So
Exactly.
what is your opinion on
Uh, I think fear is the killing factor,
that?
because fear is the worst factor.
Yes.
The fear is there. There are so many destructive chemicals are circulating in the body, especially the adrenaline or epinephrine, which affects cardiovascular health, which affects your brain health, and which quickly does mental aging. So if the level of fear is very high, immunity starts declining. If somebody is positive, actually, we all of us are afraid of dying, basically, because death is
Mm.
is an area, or is a world which we have not seen. So we, by default, by nature, we are afraid of unseen things. That is why we have fear of unknown. So I
Mhm.
was in Quran. Allah says that those are not my friends who are suffering from fear. And I was surprised to learn that in Bible there is mention of 80 times mention of fear not. This was the term which I found, that fear not. So that means fear is basically a killer. So
Yeah.
though all of those who were either having already some chronic diseases before they got their corona, we call it comorbidities, either they were suffering from allergies or asthma or some other disorders, and the corona COVID-19 was added to their existing ailments. That could be one of the reasons, or that could be the fear. So these are two major reasons which can lead to a data which is you can't estimate which age group is being affected. In Pakistan, it is 50 plus. In US now, the COVID-19 is hitting the younger age group. So you can't standardize that what age group it is going to affect.
You know, I as I mentioned that my daughter just had it a few weeks ago, and I want to share my experience, not because I want to boast about my level of spirituality or anything, but there's an important point here, which was the first 2 hours when I found out, and I've been posting about, don't be afraid, fear is the enemy, and I've, keep a positive mindset. So I know about all that. I believe in it. I'm a big, fan of it. But then when my daughter tested positive, all those stories that I thought I had not paid attention to, they all just came rushing in, of young children, 23, 24-year-old kids dying. And my daughter is 22, and she's an American. She's here in Pakistan only 6 months. She's already had typhoid and dengue. And back in the US, she had the swine flu. So she always gets these designer bugs. So she's not exactly what you would call a very, strong immunity person. And so, of course, for 2 hours, I was gripped with fear and I just panicked. But I stayed in my room. I did not let her see it. And then I just took out my prayer rug and I said, Dorkatmas Nafal Hajat. And in when I did my sajda, when I bowed down, it was like I am bringing all my fears as a mother. I'm bringing everything to you. And in the sajda, when I was praying, something strange happened. The very thing that I was terrified of, which is, God forbid, what if what if God decides to take away my daughter? I just faced it. I said, my daughters are the most beautiful blessing you have given me, and but they're yours, as am I. We all belong to you. If that is what you have decreed, then I will have no choice but to accept your decree. But I beg you to have mercy on me. I am pleading to have mercy on me. And then something happened, Shagufta. But it was like I just got held in these beautiful just arms of care. And I'm not going to say that I got this epiphany, don't worry, your daughter is going to be healthy. No, I still didn't know. But I was not afraid anymore. I was like being held. And of course she recovered and she's fine. But the point I'm trying to make is that we are afraid of death, yet it is, it is all a reality. This is the biggest reality. The other big reality is that we control nothing. We control nothing. All of this predictability that has been making us safe was an illusion anyway, right?
Right?
And so God is shaking all those illusions. He's basically removing all these false gods. Like one of the false gods was the allopathic God. It's like, you give me this pill and it's going to heal me, and God is saying, no, all healing comes from me, so come directly to me. So I just find that to be a really beautiful experience. And I wanted to ask you, because you said something very interesting to me when I invited you for the talk, and you said that you always told your students that we would all be very fortunate if we went through a collective challenge together, because that would be the doorway to bliss. So talk to me about that, please.
Let me add little to you what you have
Please, yes,
mentioned.
please.
The psychology defines that there are four types of intelligence. One is IQ. We talk about intelligent quotient. Second is emotional quotient. Little bit of
Yes.
emotional hand we are being taught, uh, probably by parents or in the schools. We
Yes.
are not taught about social quotient, that how we are supposed to handle the community. And the fourth one we are never taught, and that is adversity quotient. Adversity quotient is the ability of a person to handle the bad patch of their life. So this is the time, if we would have been trained or we would have been given an awareness about adversity quotient, we would have been familiar with this pandemic, and we would not have been collapsing like we all of us are doing currently. So actually we live three parallel lives. One is we live
Mm.
in individual conscious, which is just my life, me very mean about myself. The other is collective conscious, where I think about my family or probably neighbors or others or community. And the third level is universal conscious. Universal conscious, I am supposed to think about planet, the creation of Allah, and I have to think about other things, and I have to be considerate about other things also. So very few of us get a chance to go into or land into a situation where we are being tested for the collective consciousness. And when you are passing through these lives, you are being graded, and you know that we are being graded. I am not talking about life after death. I am talking about this life, because I believe whatever we have done in in our adulthood, we are going to observe that in our life. I don't believe that we will get it once we are going to die. Yes, religion says all that, but I believe whatever we are doing in our lives, we will get it in our, the result is going back. You call it karma. You are going to get it back in this life also. So the highest number or the highest grade is for those who are going through a collective test, and they have been at the giving end. They are sharing, they are helping others, they are talking positive, they are like you said in the beginning, everybody is talking negative about coronavirus. I am talking positive about coronavirus. There are so many opportunities. There are so many opportunities which have come as side effects of coronavirus. So if somebody is handling it in a positive way, probably he or she is handling this pandemic or collective test in a better way. So I feel that we are the lucky ones who have got the chance to handle this pandemic. And let me define one more thing. There, you know the concept of yin and yang. So whenever there is fear,
Yes.
uncertainty, or insecurity, there is always very high level of spirituality in the air. So people who are
Yes.
into spiritual practices, you might be knowing, and probably the ones who have joined this conversation, they might also be agreeing to what I am telling. The spirituality is also at its peak currently. So whoever is trying to do spiritual practices, or whoever is trying to work on soul connection, will get results better than pre-pandemic.
I think we lost Iram. We'll have her get her right back.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, Iram is trying to get a connection. She'll be back in a minute.
All right.
Oh, sorry, I got disconnected. As I told you, I've been having internet problems all day. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So were you finished with that thought? Because I
Yeah.
I lost you midstream. Sorry.
So we are lucky to be having a chance to live in a era, in a time, in I don't know, what do you call it, or a duration where we all are tested collectively. So
Yes.
we have to think about the planet. We have to think about the people on this planet. We don't have to be mean to think about ourselves only.
And isn't it sad that there are events happening that are creating so much divide and separation and hate? Some of it can be understood because when these deep figure related triggers are, operating, people turn into animals. But at the same time, I think some of it is purposely being done. And we just have to be conscious and rise above it and stay in a place of compassion. Um, somebody was asking me I was posting yesterday, and somebody said, is there any benefit to fear? And I thought about it and I said, there is. Fear is very useful when you channel it into connecting with the divine, when you just realize that, it's funny, we go through life, Shagufta, thinking, um, we take the journey of life as the goal. We make it the goal. We make it our, we make it, we think that this is not going to change. This is going to bring stability or whatever have you. But the whole nature of the journey is that it is going to change. So our life partners, our children, our jobs, whatever they are meant to change. And the one thing that should have been our goal, which should bring stability, which should be the grounding force, which is the connection with the divine, which is everlasting. You're going to take it with you wherever you go. We forget about that. So fear, in my opinion, is a great opportunity where the divine is shaking us up and saying, apna kibla durust karo, like, see where you're going, fix you're making the journey your destination, but this was never meant to be the destination. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, because you follow a beautifully spiritual path and you have deep wisdom on that. And then, do you see any role that women are playing or are meant to be playing at this time?
Okay. I believe, Iram, that women are more spiritual. I feel so.
I have no objections to that.
Okay, fine. The reason is, number one, the composition of female is entirely definitely different to a male. The composition of a female is run by many hormones. And after every 7 years of age, the chemistry of a female changes. And this is very interesting, because this I have mentioned in my book also with references, that after every 7 years of age, the chemistry of female changes. When she crosses the age of 45, there is a hormone called FSH. It is raised many times more than its level in young age. Then science started working on it, that what is the reason of now that this hormone is so high, because the woman is not in the childbearing period. Then they realized that this is the hormone of wisdom, and this science is telling us. So, but
Wow.
I believe that female has to face many things. And the problem with the female is that she is so emotional that she gets emotional shocks many times in her life, from her partner, from her children, and that makes them more resilient, and that forces her to connect to her soul. She is not going there by choice. Her life and the shocks of her life and these hormonal changes they make her to be more spiritual, right? Then uh, there was a very interesting research that people who are into spirituality, on an average, they live 7 to 13 years longer as compared to people who are not into spirituality. So
That makes
spirituality
sense.
is not only about your connections, divine connection, it is about your life. It gives you happiness. You are a happy person if you are a spiritual person. A non-spiritual person can never be a happy person. I run a happiness movement in Pakistan, and the objective is, because I have done a small certification from Harvard University in positive psychology, and that just tells about the spirituality. That if you have a goal in your life, if you have a purpose in your life, that connects you to your spirit, that makes you spiritual. So they are talking about generally. They are not talking about any specific religious practices. They just talk about goal or purpose in your life. You can't be spiritual by getting branded clothes. You can't be spiritual by getting uh, Ferrari or Lamborghini. These are the things which are going to give you satisfaction or happiness temporarily, momentarily. But if you do something for the other people, for the community, or you help at some level, you regain energy. I
Mm.
enjoy that part of
So true.
spirituality, that by helping others for the
Yeah.
sake of, to make happy, to make Allah happy, you help others, you are being energized. I have been through very difficult phases of my life. I've been through very serious diseases, but I have recovered from those diseases without any complicated treatments, because when I have been going through those diseases, I just said to Allah that I am not going to follow those treatments which I am not promoting to my patients. And I have
Mm.
experienced the phenomena of quantum leap, where
Mm.
the body is taken from one state to the other state, and you are healed completely, because healing is
Wow.
within. Healing is within without. I can't heal you from without within.
You said healing is within,
Within without, it comes from inside, right?
within the doubt.
Within without, yani
Oh,
it comes from
within
you, from your
without.
within
Got
without.
it. Yeah,
It is
within
from your
without.
within without. My degrees, my qualifications can't heal anybody. Yes,
Correct.
my intention, my compassion, and my empathy will help a person heal,
Yes.
or my compassion will activate his or her healing, which is there. I just have
Yes.
to activate that. That's what I'm doing actually. This is what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything except my putting my good intention and my delivering my compassion to them.
So beautiful. That is, I love that. What are some of the actions that you would recommend, Shagufta? In you mentioned that this is a time of a great blessing. We are, as a collective, we're going through this challenge. What are some of the actual like examples of actions that we should be taking in order to shift into that state of bliss?
Okay. At individual levels, definitely we have to heal ourselves first, because in holistic sciences, it always begins from self-care. So
Mm.
first, I have to see what I am taking, what I am doing to myself. If I am not pampering myself during this period, I will not be able to help others. So
Correct.
self-care is the rule number one for everyone, for every member of the family, that you have to pamper yourself physically, you have to pamper yourself emotionally, and you have to pamper yourself spiritually also. When you do this, your body becomes a source of light emitting, which is going to others. So
Yes.
if you have healed yourself, little bit of your help is going to heal the other person, because
Mm.
the confidence which you are emitting from your body, the faith which you are emitting from your body will heal others. So at the currently, We are definitely supposed to spread good news. We are supposed to talk about good things. We have to focus on our foods. We have to focus on our those foods which are the live foods. We have to avoid, at the moment, we have to completely avoid all processed foods, which are dead foods, or a
Yes.
plant-based food. That means the company-based products. We have to go into foods which are, if we can't get the organic foods, we should try to get foods which are close to nature.
Yeah.
Then we should focus on our sleep, and we should promote this. Every patient, every day, I am telling my patients, please sleep before midnight, because if you are not sleeping before midnight, you are not letting your body to rejuvenate itself. The best ideal time according to the chronomedicine or the circadian rhythm or the body clock is that between 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. at night, body maximally rejuvenates itself. So if somebody is awake the whole night and eating or taking organic foods, doing other many things, but not sleeping at night, he or she is at risk of this disease. So besides food, we have to educate people about their night sleep. Then exercise is very important. If we can't go out, I'm just talking about online yoga classes, online Zumba classes, online dance classes. So we have to do something where we are physically active, because physical inactivity is worse than smoking. This is proven by science. It is proven
Wow.
by, this is not my opinion, that physical inactivity is now proven worse than smoking. So a patient who is a corona patient, or somebody who wants to work on the preventive side, they need to focus on their food, on their sleep, on their physical activity, and they have to incorporate something lighter. Like I promote laughter therapy. I promote laughter therapy. So currently I am just watching comedy programs. I don't want to watch those television channels which are just giving corona figures. So we just
Yes.
have to,
All the
we
news.
avoid.
Yeah.
We have to avoid, because there is too much. There is too much information overload, I would say, and that is actually draining us. Because if we are constantly watching or listening to news about deaths and figures
Yeah.
about corona, those newses are going to drain us. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful. Then grounding is recommended. Walk barefooted. By walking barefooted, you just do grounding of your negative energies which are circulating in the mind. So you feel better, because by connecting, by touching your feet to the ground, you get negative ions from the earth. If you walk barefooted on the grass, it is more helpful. So laughter therapy is the easiest thing which we can do. We can sit together with the families. We should enjoy family time. This is the blessing of corona, that previously parents were not having time for their children, and
Not
there was a dissociation.
so
There
much
was a dissociation
time.
between children and parents. So corona has given an opportunity to form a
Right.
bond again.
Yes. That was one of the things that I kept doing. I think it's been a few months now, Shagufta, but that, I am not partying, but there are a few people that I see on a very regular basis, because that's what my brother said. And he's a doctor. And he said, you have to accept that this might last a year or 2 years. So whatever lifestyle you're going to adopt now, it should be something you can live with happily for a couple of years. And a very strict quarantine was not going to be possible, and it's not very helpful for us emotionally or we're social beings. We love touching, we love feeling, we love connecting. So I see my family on a very regular basis, and even though there was a time when one of them actually got tested positive for corona, but it was Eid holidays. So we all put on our masks and we put on our gloves, and we stayed 6 feet away, but we went to see her because, being left alone during that time, it's not easy. And that was one of the things my daughter shared with me. Although I checked on her, I did all of those things, and I asked her afterwards, because she was in quarantine, so whoever went into her room was taking the precautions. And I said, so what was the toughest thing? And she said, toughest thing was not being hugged.
Yes.
And I said, oh, you should have told me. I would have taken the risk. I don't care, I would have hugged you. But she didn't want to tell me, of course, at that time. But she said, mommy, that was the toughest thing. And that just broke my heart, because yeah, when somebody's feeling down, and they're of course afraid too, and then they can't be hugged. At least, I'm not saying hug someone that's been tested positive. Be careful, please. But this is just sad for me, that the humanity, the humanness, which actually makes us very strong and resilient as a species.
Yeah.
It's not our brains that have saved us millions of years over other species. It's our hearts that have, that make us who we are. And that is what is under attack right now. It just really bugs me, you
Very
know?
true. Very true.
Yeah.
The
So,
science has proven that social connection, this is again a
mm,
Harvard study, it is called Grant study. It was done over a period of 75 years, and they have found that social connection is the strongest factor of longevity. So at the
right.
moment, we are socially disconnected. Yeah, we are
Yeah.
connected virtually, but physically we are disconnected. So definitely we are going through a difficult time, emotionally and physically.
Exactly. And I mean, and as a doctor, that babies develop better, that have a lot of physical touch. And so, in some ways, we're also still children, and we need that too. So I totally agree. And I hope that, some study comes out which tells us that maybe, if you've sterilized your hands, you can still hug a corona positive patient. Unless they sneeze on your face, you're not going to get it. But one of the other things, now moving on, because we have some questions too. You mentioned earlier that when you were treating your corona patients, there were certain things you told them to eat,
Yeah.
certain nutrition. Is there any general? I know that you treat, as you said, on a person case by case basis, but is there anything that you can recommend for our listeners that would be good for consuming, for
Yeah.
consumption
If
or
I just give,
eating?
yeah, true. If I give you an idea about the food, the very, very important point is don't take foods which have got low temperature. So don't try to take foods which are warm, because core temperature is very, very important for viral growths. All
Okay.
viruses, include influenza viruses also, because the research is being done on influenza virus, and my work is also on core temperature. So if the core temperature drops, which is about 98.4, if it drops, there is a chance that the virus is going to grow in your body. So if a person is in a habit of taking chilled water or drinks or ice creams or cold foods, it's not healthy. So the number one rule for food is please take foods which are warm. Don't
Mm,
take cold water. And warm drinks like black tea, black coffee, and green tea. These are the three drinks which help in developing better immunity, because they actually warm your body internally, and they have some role in changing the internal pH. And
mm,
these three warm drinks change your pH towards little more acidic side, and we need little acidic pH, very mildly acidic pH, to curb the growth of viruses. So number one,
mm,
warm foods. Number two, we need proteins. So in my patients, I promote broth, clear soup. I talk about half-boiled eggs, because these are the two forms of protein which are readily absorbed by the body, and they are assimilated very quickly, and they give support to the immune system. But all those who are vegan, they can switch to grains, they can switch to pulses, they can switch to beans, they can take quinoa, they can, if they are not controlling their dairy, they can take milk, they can take milk. Yogurt is a better form of dairy. Yogurt or cheese is better than milk during this coronavirus because milk produces phlegm, and phlegm is a medium for the growth of virus. So yogurt is good, but it should not be cold, right? So these are the few important things which should be taken. And then there are mode of eating is also very important. So whoever wants to work on her or his immunity, they have to focus on your breakfast. They should take an early and tummy full breakfast before 9 a.m. Because again, according to the body clock, the maximum absorption and assimilation of the food is before 9. It is between 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. So we have to focus on breakfast, and the maximum absorption of food is in the morning, or you can say the metabolic peaks are in the morning. So if somebody wants to work on the immunity and is careless about the breakfast, an early breakfast, the person is at risk. And the breakfast should be loaded with proteins. You can have eggs, you can have cheese, you can take quinoa, you can take seeded breads, or green tea should be part of the meal. When we take green tea right after the foods, actually we facilitate the absorption of the food, because most of us have this dysfunctional stomach. We have dysfunctional gut, or you can say we have already killed our major part of our microbiome or intestinal flora. And you might be knowing that the major immunity is in the intestine. About 70% of the bacteria which Allah has given us for our protection is in our gut. So if we don't follow a discipline, the healthy food will not be absorbed and we will be nutrient deprived. We'll be suffering from multiple deficiencies. So these are the major things which I advise to my general patients.
Very, very good advice. And I know it's really simple if you start following it. It's a very, very simple lifestyle, and it's easy to incorporate, and you don't have to. What I love about your diet or your lifestyle is that you ask people, so what do you really like? And actually it's surprising, you can have most of the stuff that you really like. It's just that you have to time it properly. And it's very smart. And by the way, I did give yakhni to my daughter like twice a day during that time. So that was one thing I forced on her, which is, for you guys, that's bone broth. And that's one of the things that Dr. Shagufta just mentioned. So warm bone broth and green tea. So thank God she likes green tea. So she had plenty of that. So we have a lot of questions for you. And Gretchen, can you hear me? If you can respond, if you can hear me, if you can just collect questions from the other broadcast, that would be great. Okay. So this is from Rowan. So this is not really a medical question, but this is great because I think you will understand this. She's saying that it makes me feel great to help others. I love to help them, but it's very, very draining, especially when somebody puts pressure and she's not really feeling able to help them so much. So this is more about trying to establish healthy boundaries. And as you know, Shagufta, this is one of the biggest problems that we as women have. We just want to give because we're nurturers by nature.
Exactly. So this is what I wanted to explain again, that before giving to others, please focus on your self-care. If you are not pampering yourself, you won't be able to give others, or they are going to drain you. Rather, you'll be getting edgy or irritable after helping others. So please focus on yourself first. From today, I would say, start working on yourself, start nourishing yourself, start pampering yourself simultaneously, and then you can help others with more energy. Focus on your sleep, do something to unwind your mind, do something to de-stress yourself, do a lot of grounding, watch comedy material, and then you will carry better energy to help others.
Awesome. And I am also a big fan of boundaries. You know, there is something to be said about communicating, loving communication. Something that my mentor, Chris Atwood, has always taught me is following the principle of I love you and I love me. So both have to be in that. So when you're just being loving to the other, who's there to love you? If you're not loving yourself, then it's not healthy. It's toxic. And he always says, you know, there's the and. He doesn't say I love you, but I love me, because that creates separation. So he says it's I love you and I love me. And at this point, I don't feel that I can go take you shopping, or I don't think this will, um, you know, it makes me feel great to take you shopping. So it's really interesting how when you start the conversation with love and compassion and understanding, and then you state your boundary. So try that, Rowan. Hopefully that will help you.
One thing
So
I would
this
like,
question, yes,
one thing,
please.
the
Yes,
research says that your cells are listening. Your cells
Mm,
are, and this is proven. This Quran also says that your skin is keeping a record. So when
so
we say loudly that we love ourselves, we get healing. So this is
that is
part of self
so
care.
good. I
So your
love that. So
so
cool.
your cells make a memory. Oh, this person loves herself. So we have to give her health now. And so there is a record, good record is also made that you love the most precious creature, the most precious being which Allah has created. That is yourself, your being.
Yes. So true. I love that. Thank you. Next question is from Shamim. People who are on night duty in jobs where they what should they do about sleep? Because obviously their clock is going to be their circadian rhythm is going to be off.
Because they are off their sleep, they have to focus more on their food, their stress management, and exercise, the other components of this medicine. They have to focus more, and whenever they get a chance, they should get out of this job, because it will definitely take a toll on their health.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So yeah, a couple of people talked about um, feeling worse when they're ill when they don't have physical contact. That's very true. Um, Another question is it really that important to eat that early? I find that I really can't handle eating early in the morning. It makes me feel ill, and my stomach doesn't feel ready for food until about 10:30 a.m. And even then, I can't handle anything heavy like protein. I need to eat a very light breakfast. I might be able to take a bit of cheese, but that's all. I bet you've heard this many, many times. I remember saying this to you.
Is that you have to sync with your body clock. Don't care about the quantity of food. If you have to sync with the body clock. If you can take a small bite of cheese and a few sips of green tea, that would be counted as your breakfast. So if you keep doing for a few days, the body is so intelligent, body is so beautifully designed, that after a few weeks or days you will start having good appetite early. So the body is, the cycle is going to be corrected, and the appetite will come definitely in the early morning. But for the first few days, you have to force yourself and start with a very small quantity.
Awesome. Awesome. Beautiful. Guys, do you have any other questions? We have Dr. Shagufta for maybe a few more minutes. And I can't see Facebook right now, so make sure it's here in Zoom. Roz says, I find green tea is very acidic for my system. Is there anything else that you would recommend?
Okay. Yes, green tea is acidic if it is not rightly prepared. If you read in Chinese material, they are so very careful about even the source of water they use for making green tea, the cooking pot which is being used to cook the green tea, the temperature, and the time where you exposing the green tea leaves. You are not supposed to boil green tea leaves. When the water boils, put the leaves and let it brew. You are not supposed to cook the tea leaves. If the tea leaves are cooked and the green tea has gone into a brown color, it will turn into a very acidic green tea. So it should be of a goldenish color or lemon color, then it won't be giving you any acidity. And dose is very important. Add a pinch of cane sugar or raw sugar. By adding raw sugar, you change the pH of green tea. So you have to add a pinch of raw sugar, and a dose is very small. You would have seen those Chinese green tea cups, very small cups. So that is the dosage. If somebody is taking dark colored big mug of sugarless green tea, it will give a lot of acidity.
I've lived in the US for 25, 26 years. Everything is big there, especially in Texas. Our food helpings are big. Our iced tea is like this big, yay big, with a lot of ice in it. So we're used to big serving size. And I remember that was one of the most important things I learned when I met Dr. Shagufta, because I used to boil the heck out of my green tea, and when she told me that, no, first of all, you're supposed to take a few, a pinch, and then you put that in, and you put it in after the water has boiled, and just as you turn the stove off, you put it in, you cover the lid, and then you drink it after. And it was delicious. It was delicious. And she's like, just drink about half a cup, and you can space that throughout the day. You can drink more and more. So that was very, very important. Okay, so a question from Aisha is that, can you suggest anything that can help sleeplessness at night? I've tried different medicines.
Okay. This is again very interesting. If your breakfast is at the right time, breakfast regulates your nocturnal sleep or your night sleep. So if breakfast is not at the right time, the whole cycle is disrupted, because body follows the rhythm of sunrise and sunset. And breakfast facilitates those, or all the organs have their own clock. And I was surprised when I learned that liver has got a biggest clock, which is controlling the rhythm. So once you start regulating or fixing your meals at the right time, imagine body like a machine. Or you would have seen some programs on television like National Geographic, where biscuits are being made. So every machine is doing something at some point. If one part of that machine is missing, the biscuit will not be the outcome, or anything. Could it be the jam or anything? Similarly, if you follow the rhythm, end result is good absorption of food, good sleep, and peace. You have solace in you. You are a happy person. If you desync with the body clock, sleeplessness will be there. So you have to focus on your breakfast, and then you have to focus on your evening meal, which should be before 9 p.m. And try to sleep 1.5 to 2 hours after your meal. This will help you getting better sleep. If you are awake more than 3 to 4 hours after your evening meal, then you have to have some snack before you sleep, like have some fruits, have some nuts, or if you are fond of milk, you can take hot chocolate. These are the snacks which help getting you better sleep. So sleep it's a difficult or delicate rhythm. If it is disrupted, you have to work on it.
It may take time, but if you stay with it slowly, it will resynchronize. Okay, awesome. Thank you. That was really great advice, because of course, Dr. Shagufta treats insomnia and sleeplessness and all these disorders without medication. So please, please, please don't get on those. This was a really good question. Let me find it. Okay, this is from Joy, and I find this so interesting, Joy. I love your question because it's related to the happy hormone. So she said, I have learned that serotonin, the happy hormone, was produced mainly in the stomach. How can I help myself, because I don't produce enough? Thank you.
Okay, fine. Yeah, she's right, because happy molecules are produced, most of those are produced in the gut, not only in the stomach, in the intestines, by pancreas, by liver. So it's the digestive system, basically. So in order to get healthy and happy molecules in your gut, you have to adhere to natural foods. You have to follow a discipline. If you are taking natural food, but you don't follow a discipline, the food will not be absorbed and they will not be turning into happy molecules. And another important point, which most of the people are missing, while having food, you have to be in a mindful mode. You have to follow the rituals of having food. I have found Japanese nation I think that they are the bestest one in terms of following their rituals. We are also supposed to follow the rituals before starting the food. We are supposed to recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are supposed to say thank you, or the words of gratitude, or shukrana
Absolutely.
after foods. Japanese are so very particular that even during their official meetings, they offer their rituals before and after they had their meals.
So
So
beautiful.
if a person is not into mindful eating, if somebody is into mindless eating, food will not be absorbed, because your gut is called second brain. If something is wrong here, you are in hurry, you are watching TV, you are watching the coronavirus news, you are looking at your cell phone, you are texting, you are attending calls, forget about good health. Because
Watching Netflix.
yeah, getting anything. Unfortunately, the mothers, they have developed this habit into their children, that they can't have food without watching something on their tablets. And these are the children who suffer from allergies. What are allergies, by the way? Allergies mean that your food is not properly absorbed. The same food is converting into allergens instead of converting into blood or nutrients.
Mm.
So for happy molecules, she has to be into a mindful eating mode also.
Now, there are more questions, and I want to take a couple of people have raised their hands also. I think it would be really helpful if you mentioned, I'm hoping that your book is available on Amazon. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So if you can tell them the name of your book again, because guys, all of this stuff is in there, and it's you can actually learn from it and then plan your holistic eating or whatever your issues are. You can actually figure it out by reading the book, because the principles that Dr. Shagufta uses are same. You know, she uses pretty much the same stuff for everything. It's going back to the source, going back to the root of the problem. Let's get the body into balance, and all these other symptoms are going to go away. So she doesn't necessarily just treat the symptom, she's treating the body. So can you say the name of your book, please, and how they can get it, and your website?
Okay. The book is Living as Nature Intended. Living as
As
Nature
nature intended. Good,
and the
perfect.
Pickles, Piccchls. If you Google Dr. Shagufta Feroz, you will find all the social media links and even the link to the book as well.
Awesome. Very, very good. Gretchen, if you can please put the name of the book in the chat. Somebody's requesting that. And you guys can see Dr. Shagufta's name, right? So just Google her name. It shows up. She's done many, many talks. She's done many lectures. So you guys will be able to find it. All right. So I want to see who has, Gretchen, how do I see who has raised their hand? Because I can't. Oh, yeah. Okay, attendees. All right, Connie, I'm unmuting you. Hello, Connie. Can you hear me? Hello, Connie. You're unmuted. You have muted yourself, honey. You need to unmute yourself. All right, so next person is Jacqueline. Jacqueline? All right, but you have to unmute yourself, I think.
Oh.
All right, here we go. Who's this?
This is
Jacqueline?
Yes, in Los Angeles.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Wonderful information.
Are you enjoying this talk? Are you a member of FHTJ, Jacqueline?
Say it again.
Awesome. Awesome, dear.
I didn't hear you.
I said, are you a member
No,
of From Heartache to Joy community? Are you a member of the From Heartache to Joy community or new?
I'm not
Oh,
sure.
seems like I have terrible connection.
I'm
Okay,
not-
either way, welcome. It's awesome to have you, dear. What's your question?
Okay. I wanted to, I didn't see her name or anything. I just happened here and I just feel so fortunate. Um,
Her name is Dr. Shagufta.
got it. I love it. I love her too. Oh my God, you're wonderful. Um,
Awesome.
and I
And you're
love,
wonderful yourself. What's your question, honey?
yeah, yeah, I didn't have a question, but I just, the mindfulness part, it was really important to me to understand that. Does she have any courses on helping with mindfulness?
The Shagufta, do you have any courses in helping with mindfulness?
No, not purely on mindfulness, but I do conduct online courses, which is about lifestyle medicine. And mindfulness is part of lifestyle medicine because meditation comes under the umbrella of mindfulness.
Okay,
Got it.
I would like to consider that. I really would.
Okay.
Well, why don't you start with her book, Jacqueline?
I will. Okay, thank you.
Just read her book and then just connect with her on Facebook. She's on Facebook as well. So you're to do a workshop on mindfulness and how to have, habits in place that would help us be more. This is a great question. So Connie, I realized that I needed to unmute you. So I'm gonna unmute you. Well, actually
Can
you
you
are
hear me?
unmuted.
Yeah, I just clicked it. That's why.
Oh, cool. Hey.
I didn't know I had
Are
to
you
click
a
it on my
member
TV.
of FHC then? Or are you new too?
Pardon?
Are you a member of FHC or are
Yes.
you also new?
No, I've
Okay,
been listening to you for a while. I thank you and all your healers are really cool. I was
Thank
just
you.
hoping for a scan maybe and see what she could maybe see.
She doesn't do that. She doesn't do energy healing scans.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you have a particular question regarding any of the stuff she talked about.
Well, the one question was asked earlier about the serotonin, and because I
that
have the
was your
same issue. Yeah, and I've been having troubles regulating it, and I've tried everything.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna go ahead and mute you, honey, so that if there's somebody else who has a question.
Yeah.
So guys, if you have any request for energy healing and stuff, that's not what Dr. Shagufta does. So please make sure that if you have a question, we want to make sure that people that have they wanted a chance to talk to her, they will be able to. So here you go, Lishan. I am unmuting you now, or you have to do it yourself because it's not allowing me to.
Hey, can you hear me?
Now we can. Hello.
Hi, how are you? I'm doing good. Hello, Dr. Shagufta.
Hi, Nishan.
Hi. Yes, ma'am. I have a concern regarding the allergy, which has just rised up in the lockdown only. So, because I hope you can hear me, ma'am.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So I got a lot of heart palpitation, anxiety. I'm just 34. I just got my chest scan done. Nothing came up, but the ECG came with the sinus tachycardia. You can say that. Yeah, I always have a heartbeat rate which is very high, more than 100, and a lot of anxiety and palpitation. And really don't want to be on the medicine because it's just early age.
Okay. Okay. So as you said, that this allergy has started emerging during this lockdown. So this allergy is connected to your anxiety. And as I said earlier, that your gut is your second brain. So anxiety is reflected on your gut, and gut has affected the absorption of food. And instead of completely absorbing into blood and converting into blood, the food is being converted into allergens. So you have to work on your fear. You have to do certain things, like you can be doing exercises, or as I already said, that you
I am doing, ma'am. I've just started my classes. I'm doing regular meditation, yoga. It has really helped. But
Yeah.
somehow, if I come to any dust thing or the smoke or something, it gives a lot of, I get the shortness of breath. That's the only concern.
All right, all right. So focus on your breakfast and take at least 3-4 cups of just black tea with a pinch of white sugar, because
Sure.
black tea has a role detoxifying blood also. You will get better, inshallah, that you'll feel better.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
focus on
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'll definitely look forward to buy your book from the Amazon.
right and focus on your sleep as well.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'll do that, ma'am. Initially, it was completely insomnia because I am a person who sleeps at least 12 hours, but I used to sleep only for 5 hours, 6 hours, 4 hours, and waking up with a lot of fear and anxiety. But now it has reduced a lot. So I'm really focusing on my health now. This lockdown has taught us.
Yeah, true, very true.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you
You're
so much,
so
Aram.
welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for your question. I want to mention one other thing here, that regarding anxiety, stress, food, definitely you have to modify your habits. And one of the things that has really helped me, I've talked about it in my community many times before. Shagufta, I think I mentioned to you, I have been doing zikr with my teacher for a while, but I just didn't have the discipline. So ever since I've come here, I would do it with him on WhatsApp because of the lockdown. And then we said, why not invite other people? So we've had people from Heartache to Joy community, from different walks of life, from different faiths, from different religion, and they have been coming every day. And some of them have been more disciplined than I am, and they just don't miss a single day. They're there every day, and it's probably very early for them because it's 5:30 p.m. Pakistan time, and it's 5:30 a.m. for some people, and they wake up specifically for that, and they do zikr with us. It's free. It's been offered for, now we're going on 3 months. So it's in the From Heartache to Joy group. The Zoom link is there. We do it on Zoom without video. And it has helped me immensely because zikr is, of course, a Sufi practice, you guys. I find that I would loosely define it as meditation, but it's so much more than that. It's so much more because, it creates this fastest and strongest connection with the divine that I have ever seen. And as you said, Shagufta, that when you recharge the battery of your soul, which is a powerful being, when you get the charge into the soul, it's going to heal so many things, especially psychological and mental issues.
Very true. I have been experiencing this, the same which you have said, for the past, I think since March, we have been doing collective, I call that heart-centered dua. And currently we are doing meditation sessions also. It is amazing. And the power of these sessions have magnified many folds, I would say. As I said, that there is a spirituality and fear, they are equally present in the air. So we can avail from spirituality. So the one who was asking for allergy, if she can join some online groups, she'll be healed quickly.
Yes, I agree, because many people are reporting benefits. I myself had an immense benefit since I started doing it. And so many of the other, because when your energy, it makes sense on a quantum sense too, as your energy, as your vibration, as your frequency goes higher, it is going to affect the physical tissue. And as the tissues and organs get affected by the higher frequency, you're just going to move towards health. So we are at the end of our time together. I know a lot of people still have questions. Guys, you want to make sure you go and get that book, because that answers all of this plus more. And you want to keep it as a guide so that you can begin to modify. Don't get discouraged. Baby steps, small steps, that maybe do a couple of things first, then do a couple more, and it does have really great effects very quickly. and then you can begin to modify your life that way. So any words of wisdom that you want to share with us before we let you go, Shagufta?
I would like to just share a quote about this soul. I was reading a medical, a study or research which says that soul has a power which is being explained on the basis of a science which is called morphic resonance field, which says that it is so powerful, that from a distance it can regulate millions of reactions per second. And I would like to conclude by saying a very famous quote of Plato, who said in 380 BC that the biggest error or the biggest blunder done by the medical science is that a physician has separated body from the soul.
Wow. So what you shared, that it can affect people from a distance, that's the person whose soul is strong, they can affect other people, right? Which is what yes.
Your zikr, because the person who is conducting zikr is sitting somewhere else.
Yes.
So distant healing can only be explained on the basis of soul or the power of spirit only. It cannot be explained on, and it is non-tangible thing. You can't measure it, but it is very powerful. It is powerful. So I think
that needs to be our second discussion, purely Sufi discussion, because this is a great evidence, when people that are not Sufis that say, why do you follow your teacher like that? And why do you, well, this right here is the evidence that they have worked so much on energizing their soul. They're so connected all the time. And you can actually feel it when you're sensitive to energies, you feel with them, you feel it, you feel the energy. It's very powerful. So yes,
and you feel changes in your physical body also.
Yes. Thank you, Lynn. That's so sweet of you to say that. That's very sweet. Oh my God, this has been just fantastic. I know that everybody just loved you. It is just so awesome to connect with someone with such experience, medical background, and also wisdom. It's such a rare and a beautiful combination. And your beautiful, compassionate heart energy is palpable as well. We can see that on your face. We can feel it emanating. So thank you so much for your precious time with us today. It was very enlightening. I loved every minute of it.
Thank you, Iram, for giving me an opportunity to speak to topics close to my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, and Khuda Hafiz. And goodbye to you guys. Remember, each and every one of you is loved. Yes, big hugs to you all, virtual hugs. At least we can do that right now. So big virtual hug to everybody. Thank you, and bye-bye.